Another Link Click Season 3 trailer dropped. Here's my breakdown. Spoiler warning. Okay, great. The trailer opens on a shot of Lu Guang and Cheng Xiaoshi lying together. It looks like Cheng Xiaoshi has taken off his jacket to use as a pillow for them. It actually doesn't line up with when he fainted in the previous trailer, as their outfits don't match. So it seems like these panic attacks are pretty frequent, which explains why Cheng Xiaoshi says he's been feeling like Lu Guang is hiding stuff for a while. The next few scenes, as well as some at the end of the trailer, take place along train tracks out in the bush. The same train tracks the boys played on when they were kids. I've talked about my theories more in depth before, but their first meeting as kids on these train tracks is really interesting because Cheng Xiaoshi doesn't seem to remember it at all. It's highly possible something bad happened there and time was altered in some way to fix it, most likely by Cheng Xiaoshi's parents. Even still, this seems like an important place for Lu Guang, as we see he's gone back there, and Xiaoling seems to have followed after him. In the scene in the middle of the trailer, Xiaoling mentions the memories she received from Li Tianxi, all Lu Guang's memories. And at the end, we see Lu Guang say he knows he shouldn't be rewinding time like this, but he can't face a future where Xiaoling and Cheng Xiaoshi are dead. Therefore, this scene at the train tracks seems to be when Lu Guang finally tells someone what he's been doing. There are 5 scenes split throughout the trailer that all take place outside in very similar locations. Lu Guang fights Vane. Lu Guang sees Xia Fei. Xiaoling fights Li Tianxi. Xiaoling meets Chris and Jay Li arrives. Of course, this could all be a red herring, as the Link Click trailers often have, but I feel like at least some of them happening at the same time makes a lot of sense, as it sort of explains why Xiaoling followed Lu Guang out to the train tracks. Maybe it goes something like this. After Lu Guang runs into Vane, he dashes out into the bush in a panic. Xiaoling, who was confronted by Li Tianxi at the same time, follows him and finally forces Lu Guang to explain what is going on. I also want to point out that Li Tianxi now has the same symbol tattooed on his hand as Lao Xiao does on his neck. What exactly it represents is still a mystery, but based on how it looks, Lao Xiao's promotional material and Brighton Arc's ending song, it may be the symbol of a cult or organization of people with powers, possibly called the Eye. There's actually a shot a few seconds later where Li Tianxi is wearing a black outfit, however, he does not have the symbol on his hand. So hopefully we'll get that in between and finally have an answer as to how and why they have this symbol on them. Until now, we have seen the child version of every character either in the series or in one of the trailers, except for Vane. However, he was still included in the poster of everyone as children, so I was expecting it to show up at some point. And now it's revealed in this trailer. The first time we see him, he's being held up by puppet strings. This is one of those shots that are clearly a metaphor, but the identity of the person behind him brings up a lot of questions, because the upcoming shots seem to imply it's Cheng Xiaoshi's dad. However, I don't think that quite fits, as Cheng Weimin appears to be trying to help Vane. Instead, I think this is a character we don't know about yet, like the leader of Bahhati or something. We get this shot of Cheng Weimin trying to stop child Vane from shooting him. Vane seems a lot more terrified and not psychotic like usual in this moment. It seems like he didn't plan to do this. If you look closely, you'll see his eyes are actually yellow and not his usual red. So either he's using an ability in this moment or someone is using one on him. The yellow is similar to Cheng Xiaoshi's possession power, but it's also not really confirmed if colors are unique to abilities or not. There's another shot of Cheng Weimin where he's reaching towards some bars, which appears to imply Vane is locked up in there. Maybe I'm projecting Atsushi on this too much, but it could be a situation where Vane isn't able to control his power or someone is controlling him, so he needs to be locked up to not kill anyone. Either way, it seems like he was being held captive at Bahhati. If we listen to the dialogue placed over these scenes, it seems to tell a pretty clear story. When Cheng Weimin is reaching towards the bars, he says he'll handle everything and send him, Vane, out. There's talk about someone taking the fall and planning to kill everyone, referring to the Bahhati fire. It seems like it was intentionally lit by Cheng Weimin so he could rescue the people, like Vane, being held there. But then why would he also be working there as a teacher? Well, there's this line about the Brighton police having a secret force a long time ago. One would assume it had something to do with with investigating or using people with powers. Considering it's said during all these scenes of Cheng Weimin, it seems to imply he was a member. That could be why he was at Bahhati. He was investigating it. They were in over their heads with no way to solve it legally, so he took the fall and lit the fire to try and save everyone. Cheng Weimin appears in one last scene, where he hugs Cheng Xiaoshi. Cheng Xiaoshi looks very frightened and his dad looks pretty angry. They're outside, there's bricks or rubbish or something in bags behind them. Maybe they're near a warehouse or something near the train tracks. This probably takes place around the incident that happened there. Cheng Xiaoshi looks pretty unharmed, so maybe Lu Guang is the victim. He did look pretty hurt in a previous trailer. But realistically, anything could happen with this. Maybe the big incident occurs after this while they're trying to save Lu Guang. We see Xiao Ling at a restaurant with Xiao Fei and Liu Xiao. Liu Xiao slides over a burnt piece of paper, possibly a photograph. I would bet this is something that came from the Bahhati fire, possibly a photo of Cheng Xiaoshi's parents. Following this, we see 3 shots of people clapping and one of Cheng Xiaoshi crying. For the clapping shots, 2 are definitely Cheng Xiaoshi, but 1 might not be. It's not an outfit we've seen him in before. Based on the black, it could be his dad or Liu Xiao. Of course, it could also just be Cheng Xiaoshi possessing a person and exiting the photo. The crying scene takes place outside in a field with foxtails. It doesn't look like a place we've seen before. The whole scene is in grayscale, either a metaphor for like depression or something is being censored in the trailer. You can see Cheng Xiaoshi's eyes are light, so he's using an ability here. It could just be his normal yellow and he's dived into a photo, or maybe his eyes are a different color, implying that someone has died and he's gained another ability, which would explain why this shot is in grayscale, as to not spoil anything. Finally, we see Xiao Ling's eyes change color again, just in case anyone was still doubting the fact that she did inherit Li Tianxi's ability. That's the animated parts done, but there is also a lot of text throughout this trailer. The first line of text we see says, "The hidden truth is about to be revealed." This could be about literally anything. Lu Guang finding out Vane is alive, Cheng Xiaoshi finding out he dies, or maybe something way bigger like the whole Bahhati, possibly cult mystery. Then we see conflicts are about to break out, referring to the return of Vane, Liu Xiao, and Xiao Fei. They tear off their disguise. By the way it's placed in the trailer, it seems to be referring to Xiao Fei, referencing the fact that he may or may not be a good person. Extending its claws towards the light. To me, it sounds like it's describing a beast clawing out of hell or something. It's referring to Vane's revival, but also possibly him escaping Bahhati as a child. After a shot of Liu Xiao, we see chaos is coming. Pretty self-explanatory. Then we have a couple flashes of single words, each paired with a character. Collapse for Cheng Xiaoshi, likely his mental state once he realizes what's going on. Suspicion for Xiao Ling, maybe it's about how she has seen all Lu Guang's memories. Conflict for Li Tianxian, pretty self-explanatory. All the clips of him in the trailer are him trying to fight someone. Out of control for Lu Guang, which ties back in with what he said about having it all under control back in Brighton arc, which we know is absolutely not true. And finally, variable for Jay Lee. He's the new character, so that makes sense. The next line of text says everything will become out of control. Again, it applies to Lu Guang like I mentioned before, with the addition of people now finding out about the time rewinding. The last couple lines all seem to go together. The forgotten past, which I would say is about their childhoods and how they're connected. The determination to change mistakes, referring to going back in time and doing things over. Then there's a quote of someone speaking. What exactly did they do? This could be said by any number of characters, but maybe it's Cheng Xiaoshi finding out about the time loops, or maybe his father starting the fire. Finally, we end with the ominous line, the mystery will eventually be revealed. As I said about the first line, the mystery could be anything and everything, but at least we're finally getting some answers. I am so excited yet so scared to finally watch season 3. The director reposted the trailer with crying emojis, so I can only imagine what's in store for us. Thank you for your time.